The town of Ambo is located right in the heart of Ethiopia, 125 kilometers west of the capital city Addis Ababa. It is here that we have established the Ambo Deaf School. Most of the students at the school come from poor farming families living in the rural communities surrounding Ambo. News about the school and its success in being able to teach deaf children spread throughout the districts, and we received several reports from government offices about the plight of many more deaf children living in isolated communities within a 50-kilometre radius of Ambo town. In order to verify these reports, myself, Father Stephen, and the principal of the school, Mr. Rishetu, arranged a visitation to 5 of these rural districts. In each location we met numerous deaf children and their parents, many of whom had walked long distances to meet us and learn about the deaf school. It was obvious to us that most of the children we met were living very isolated and lonely lives. They had never been to school, had no formal means of communication, were stigmatized by their disability, which some people in the villages considered to be the consequence of a curse on the family. The one very striking aspect of meeting all these deaf children, which defined just how marginalised and lacking in self-identity they were, was that none of them knew their own name. One of the places we visited was the town of Inchine, a 3.5-hour bus journey from Ambo. It was rainy season, and we even had to help dig the bus out of a mud hole in the road. Inchine is a small market town seemingly located in the middle of nowhere. Yet, on the day we arrived, over 20 deaf children and their parents had gathered at the offices for social affairs to meet us and learn about the Ambo Deaf School. It was in Inchine that we met this little girl aged 10 who had never been to school. Her mother said the school in Ambo was a blessing from God and that she would pray and beg him to find some way for her daughter to attend. We suggested that if she had relations living in Ambo willing to host her child, that we would find a sponsor to cover the cost of her accommodation and her education. On the first day of the new school year, with the gates just barely open, to our delight, the little girl from Inchine arrived with her aunt and uncle, asking if she could please have a place at the school. She registered by making a mark on the roll book and was given her first copybooks and pencils. She was introduced to our grade 3 students. This little girl had no sign language with which to communicate, no ability to read or write, or to even tell the students her name. But she seemed at ease and very happy in her new surroundings. Over the next 2 weeks, she was joined by 16 more deaf children, all from the rural districts. One of the first lessons our new students got, especially the older ones, was that their hands were not just for work, but were now their means for communication, to be used for learning and socialising. Then it was down to basics, such as learning the sign for pencil and the letters of the alphabet. Our older students were very keen to assist the new arrivals to get their fingers and hands around this new means of communication. The little girl from Inchine was eager to learn as many new signs as possible and to put them into practice at every available opportunity. Sometimes maybe a bit too eager. Having mastered the alphabet, it was time to tackle numbers. And for a 10-year-old who had never been to school before, her written work is exceptionally good. The informal setting of the schoolyard is as important an environment as the classroom for learning sign language. She has also learnt that her hands can be creative, and she's developed a great talent for local crafts. This was her first experience of modern technology. So how does she like the school? Well, apparently she loves it. When we first met this little girl in Inchine, her mother said she would pray and beg God that her child would be able to attend the Deaf School. I think it's fair to say her prayers have been answered. So, who is this little girl?
My name is Lensa.